cool. So for number 1, you're going to have to use point slope formula, which is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. What's the main rule that you have to remember for this one? What's the main rule? Anybody? Yeah, anybody. You don't have to solve it, but whenever you start plugging things in, what do you have to remember? Yeah, we're going to label them first. So then, yeah, we have m, we have x1, we have y1. Specifically about x1 and y1, what needs to happen? Everything changes. All the x1 and the y1 needs to switch whenever you put it in. So y minus y1, which is negative, so when I put it in, it's going to be a positive 5. Equals a slope of negative 4/3, parentheses x, and when I put a positive 3 in for x1, it's going to become a minus or a negative 3. And so for this one right here, that's the only thing you have to do. So that is your answer. You have to be able to plug in and identify the answer. Notice that everything's just the opposite. So my x goes in with the other x, and then now it's a minus instead of a positive. The minus 5 goes in, and it is no longer negative, it is positive. Questions? Yeah, no, that's not a question. Because I made the review in 10 or 15 minutes. On your test, everything will be there. Alright, next. So, ideally, for number 2, if you're doing 100% right way, you would plug in your x1, your y1, and your slope, and you'll solve, and it'll give you your equation. However, how did I teach y'all to check your equation once you have an answer? Anybody? To graph it, yeah, and then Control T. So, you see how all of these have the same negative 4/3 slope? That means that we can't get rid of any of those because they all have the right slope. Now we need to check the points. So I go to New Document. No, I don't want to save. Add a graph. And I'm going to graph A, which is negative 4 divided by 3, x plus 6, enter. And then I'm going to hit Control T. And I want to see when x is 6, y is negative 2. So we know A is wrong. Right? In order to get rid of all that stuff, I usually just do Control Escape. You see how it has like an undo button? And I'm going to do Control Escape until I see that graph go away. Alright? Then I'm going to hit Tab and I'm going to type in my next one. Negative 4 divided by 3x minus 1. Enter. Control T. I go down. When x equals 6, y equals negative 9, that matches, so the answer is B. For number 3, we should all know how to do statistics already, right? Now for number 3, there's actually 3 ways for you to solve it. You have graphs, right? So you could graph them and hit Control T and look for the table in all of these like we just did. Or you could do a linear regression, which is the stat calculation, mx plus b, and type in these points and see what the answer comes out to be. What I'm going to do is a little bit different. Throughout this test, something that will be a big benefit to you. When x is 0, what does that tell us? That's the y-intercept. So, that means our b value needs to be negative 3. So the answer is not C and not D, because those are bad answer choices. Again, if you do it in the statistics, if you do the statistics page, it's going to tell you the answer. Alright, and then next, you see how one slope is negative and one is positive? That means that I could maybe not have to do the math here. So what are our x values doing? Increasing or decreasing? They're increasing as I go down, so they're positive. What are the y values doing? They're increasing as well, so they're both positive, which means your slope needs to be positive. So by process of elimination, you should end up with the answer choice B. All right. 4, 5, and 6 all are going to refer to this graph here. Alright, first things first, is that a positive or negative graph? It's negative because it's going down. So C and D are bad answer choices. Alright, next. You're just going to find any perfect points. I'm going to go down 1 over 3. So that means my slope is negative 1/3. And number 5, the easiest thing to find. What is my y-intercept on number 5? Yeah, 5 is 5. And then lastly, when I put those two things together, my slope is negative 1/3. My y-intercept is 5, so C. All right. Any questions on the first page? All right, flip it over. Next, someone raise their hand and tell me what's the easiest way to solve this? Yeah, we have the y-intercept, right? Our x equals 0, so that tells us our y-intercept is 3. How many y-intercepts of 3 do we have here? 1, so the answer is B. Because when x is 0, that tells us our y-intercept, which is 3. Again, you can always put those into domain and range. Make sure your x's go together. Make sure your y's go together. And it will spit out the answer for you. Also, if you want to graph them and hit Control-T, just confirm that 0 equals 3 and 5 equals 13. There's many ways to do this. All right. Last class, we did word problems. So your family is trying to buy tickets to a concert. Adult tickets cost $19.95 each. Student tickets cost $15.95 each. You have $100 to spend. So your total money you have is $100. So $100 should be on one side by itself. So right here it is, right here it is, right here it is. All right. All right. $19.95 should be next to what variable? A. So $19.95 A. How much does a student ticket cost? $15.95, and it should be next to the S, so that's why the answer is C. It's easier to find them when it's multiple choice, huh?
Wait, A is
no. No, because this one says A, adult tickets are $15.95, but we know adult tickets are $19.95.
Oh, okay.
All right, next. Jennifer is signed up for painting classes. There's a $30 supply fee. Notice there's nothing in there that says it happens more than once. So that's going to be a one-time fee, so it should stand by itself. And then she pays $5 each. So $5 should be next to a variable because it happens more than once, right? So 5 is by itself, wrong. 5 is by itself, wrong. 5 is next to a variable. This one doesn't even have a 5, so the answer is B. So 5 times number of classes you go to plus $30 for that one-time supply fee. All right, and then 20. At the candy store, you bought 20 items. Some gummy bears and some gummy worms. Choose the equation that satisfies it. If we want to figure out how many gummy bears and gummy worms that we sold, do we add them or subtract them?
Add them.
And how many should we have at the end?
20.
20, so the answer needs to be A. Worms plus bears should equal 20. Any questions right here? 7 through 10. Still good? All right, so this is where people are making errors, losing points with the domain and range. So we're going to eliminate some answer choices to make it a 50-50 shot for you. Domain is always what values? X values. Range is always what values? The Y values. All right, so if domain is X, don't choose the answers that have Y's in them because those are bad answer choices. Again, domain is X. We're going to get rid of the Y's. Okay. All right, so domain and range go left to right. We can all agree with that. So the farthest that this graph goes to the left is right here. How far left is that? Negative 5. So X needs to be greater than negative 5. Why is it an empty circle? Or I mean, why?
Oh,
Empty circle means no line, right? Yeah, there we go. All right. When we go down to range, we know range is y, so get rid of the answer choices that say x, because those are bad answer choices for us. All right? And then you see how the lowest it goes is -6, so both of these numbers should be negative. All right? Is your graph above -6 or below -6? This line is -6. Is your graph above it or below it? This is your line, right? -6. Is your graph down here or up here? It's above it, right? Which means it's greater than. So you need to choose the one that says greater than. Y is greater than -6. Right? Next. Domain is left and right. Where is it on the x-axis? How far left does it go? How far left do we go?
3.
I know.
-3.
It was done on purpose. -3. How far right does it go to? You see how this one does not have a line underneath it? It's because we have an empty circle. This one has a line underneath it because we have a filled in circle. People are missing that on the test. Don't make that easy error. All right, and the last one, range. Again, range is y, so we get rid of your x choices. And then how low does this graph go? -9. And how high does it go? -5. So the answer choice is A. Yeah, I really wish you could.
I'm pretty sure you